Come on, man.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show on this lovely Tuesday. I hope you guys are on a fantastic day. If you don't mind sharing this story with all your friends and family, you can literally do it word of mouth or share it on any social media platform. It's the best way we can grow. And I thank you guys so much for so many of you do. I constantly see some of you guys doing that, and it means the world to me. But I woke up to this morning to this story, and I just thought, as in America, we're going in the right direction together. We're unifying. Thank you, Joe Biden, for your unification process. But I woke up this morning to this California response to transgender laws by banning state travel to Florida and 4 other states. Let's read this story, but I'm also going to read from NPR because I think it's best to have our liberal leftist friends actually tell us their wholehearted reason, as opposed to being adult and I'll get into what I really think of this overarching picture is and why I think it's a bigger deal than it really is. California is adding 5 more states to a list of places where state-funded travel will be banned. Attorney General Rob Bonta announced Monday. The ban is a response to a Republican-led measure in states that have passed or pursuing measures that restrict healthcare access for transgender individuals. Restrict. I'm sure they could be seen by every doctor. Or require transgender school students to participate in sports aligned with their sex rather than gender identity. Unbelievable. The states added to California ban are Arkansas, thick. Florida, never going there. I'm sure Floridians are like, it's about time y'all stop coming here. Actually, they don't talk like that in Florida. Montana, North Dakota coming in hot. West Virginia, bringing a total to the restricted states is 17. The Sacramento Bee reported. The travel ban is known as Assembly Bill 1887. Assembly Bill 1887 is about aligning our dollars with our values, Bonta said. And that's ultimately what kind of concerns me and makes me feel like we're just continuing to divide more and more. As you're seeing a ploy by the media saying that conservatives and Republicans and these dadgum Trump supporters, they're the ones that are trying to secede from the union. They're trying to break away. They're doing actions that are going against our democracy. And then I wake up and I read stories like this, and I see riots all year long and they get bailed out, and you're seeing more reform as people are turning their back on the flag. They're talking about they don't want to actually talk about the good parts of our history. They just want us to focus on our negative parts. And all I can think about is who is actually trying to secede from the union, who is pulling away, who is trying to create a whole new culture, who wants a whole new flag because our old flag is so racist, who wants a whole new founding fathers probably, and wants to strip music, wants to strip movies, they want to strip any culture that has anything that resembles our goodness of our past. Who's trying to do that? Is it the Republicans that are actually doing it? Or is it these liberal leftists? Because I wake up in the morning and I read stuff like this about how we're going to be banning travel now that we disagree with your some of your laws and some of the ways you go about running your states. And that's what we're going at, ladies and gentlemen. We're essentially 5 years old now. We can no longer have conversations with one another. We need to ban one another. As I wake up this morning and I see another liberal make a TikTok video about how he was just vaxxed and is wearing slacks and he's wearing a mask because he doesn't want to be confused with a Trump supporter. It's June 29th, and you don't want to wear a mask because you're going to continue to wear a mask because you don't want to be confused as a Trump supporter. I'm not going to discuss the mental delusion that it takes to get to that, but that's where we're at as a country. We don't even want to look like one another anymore. We don't want to dress like one another. We don't want to have the same flags as one another. We don't want our states run anywhere near the same as one another. In fact, apparently, according to California, the way Arkansas, Florida is running their state, they figure they ban it like a terrible country. But, they're probably okay with flying their planes out of, going to the Middle East and stuff like that has very harsh crimes for being homosexual. Or even China, Uyghur Muslims, like, we'll allow state travel out of there because, we need the money. Okay? It's different. Okay? Understand what I'm trying to say? So that's where we're going. We're aligning our dollars with our values, Bonta said. Making no mistake, we're in the midst of an unprecedented wave of bigotry and discrimination in this country. Are we? The more I just read some of these stories, the more I just see delusion more and more. We're in the most racist time in our country's history. I've never seen bigotry like I've seen today. And the only people I can consider, it's like the anti-movement. It's like anti-fascist. They're not actually fascist, even though everything they do is very fascistic and has fascist tendencies. And maybe the foundations are very fascist and they look like fascists and they walk like Nazis and act like Nazis and they look like a lot of like what Nazis do. But they're anti. And we're not, you can't just be against racism, you have to be anti-racism. And to be anti-racist is actually to be racist. And we're in the bizarro world where anything anti is actually that. and that's where we're going. Because, again, what's more oppressive? It's banning state travel or just having a conversation with people? Let's keep going. It's important for our state to send a strong message that we will not endorse any type of discrimination of any kind, whether it to be based on sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. That means you can do whatever you want. And California is for it no matter what. There's no limits. The University of California, the Board of Regents of the University of California and the California State University are all subject to travel law, the B reported, which goes into effect in new law this summer. The newspaper noted states that were already included in California's travel ban, which are Alabama, Idaho, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee. Did they just look up they just looked up the states and there was like, which states are red? Okay, we're against all these states. I hate them, and I hate them with a passion. What is NPR saying? Because, they're trying to spin it to make it sound nice and juicy because, it's not good to actually just report the facts like what the Hill just did. They just reported actual statements, and then they reported the facts. We need to have some kind of spin. NPR, please tell us why, as a society, we shouldn't have conversations with one another, and we shouldn't encourage different diversity of thought. We are just, I just don't, when I say I don't feel like I have a lot of hope for us is when I see stuff like this, because I get hope from forgiveness, reconciliation, and just diversity of thought, and just being okay with having a conversation with someone that has different views than you. I think it's important for any society to progress together is having difference of view. If everyone all believes the same thing, you can go and live in North Carolina, North Korea, or China and see how that's working out. That freedom doesn't feel good. San Francisco, California added 5 more states, blah, blah, blah. To a list of places of state-funded travel banned of laws and discriminated against. This is from NPR. Members of the LGBT community, blah, blah, blah. Here's the states. Make no mistake. Lawmakers in 2016 banned non-essential travel to states with laws that discriminate against gay, bisexual, transgender people. 12 other states. We already walked through those states. Give us, where's your propaganda at, people? Here we go. Florida, Montana, Arkansas, and West Virginia have passed laws that prevent transgender women and girls from participating in girls' sports consistent with their gender identity. Ugh, sick. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I don't feel like it's okay for a boy that's been pumped with testosterone up till 17 years old makes the transition and can run with girls. I'm just not okay with that. It's a whole nother conversation of an adult wanting to transition. That's a whole, that's you do whatever you want to do. But for children going through changes like that, drastic changes, children are children, and people forget that. People think that, like, some of these leftists just really think that they can handle some of these conversations, and they're adults when they've never worked with education. I've worked in education for a long time. Some of the things that come out of these kids' mouths, you're like, you shouldn't be in charge of your life ever, because you're just reminded that they're children. They're not actual adults. People, I feel like the media, politicians, and especially Hollywood actresses and actors, they just look at these kids and they're like, if they want to express themselves that way, just do it. I'm like, you've never been in charge of children before, have you? Because if you allow kids to just, do whatever they want, they're aliens, they're demons, and they're also great people. It's just like the worst and best of us combined as one person, because they're trying to understand the world and develop themselves, and their brain is still developing. So why pump them with a bunch of hormones before their brain is even fully developed? It's the same reason why you don't encourage a 13-year-old to start a drinking habit. It's going to alter their growth the rest of their life. I'm not being discriminatory by saying this stuff. This is just thinking through scientific facts. I'm not saying that they should never transition. They should never become whatever person they want to be. I'm just saying they're children. So treat them like children. If they want to go on at 21 or whatever, when they become an adult, they leave home and they want to transition, or 18, 19, that's up to them. They're an adult. They can do whatever they want. I could care less. But having these children be forced, could you imagine being a girl, being the fastest on the track team, and then a guy transitions and then takes your records and takes everything from you? And I just can't be for it. It has nothing to do with, it's just not fair. It's the same reason why I can't go be pumped for of TRT, testosterone, and then just go into a fully clean lifting competition and just take out the competition. And then they'd say, hey, you need to pee in this cup. And I'm like, hey, that's discriminatory. Okay. If I want to just lift right now, I'm going to lift. Why don't you just accept me for who I am? And they'll say, no, you've been pumping yourself full of testosterone. I'm like, so what? So is this person who's just transitioning. They're pumping themselves full of testosterone. How's that fair? Anyways, North Dakota signed it. It's the same reason we have weight classes in fighting. I'm 200 plus pounds. I'm 205 in weight. And so I'm not going to fight somebody that's 130 pounds or, 90 pounds. It's just not going to happen. That wouldn't be fair. That's why in the UFC boxing, you don't see heavyweights fight ultra lightweights. You're just not going to see that because they'll get murdered. North Dakota also signed a bill into law allowing certain publicly funded student organizations to restrict LGBT students from joining without losing funding. Okay, we should ban them for that. Arkansas passed the first law in the nation to prohibit physicians from providing gender-affirming health care. God, I hate this affirming movement. I'm totally okay with affirming people, but sometimes people harm themselves, and you know that as a physician, somebody in healthcare, and you can't just encourage it. It's like working with drug addicts all day, and then they're saying, you just need to affirm my incredible drug habit that's ruining my life. Why aren't you more affirming of me of this? You say, because that's insanity. I'm not going to affirm you in this. So to say that a 13-year-old that wants to transition, you're forced to affirm a 13-year-old in a lot of states. And like in California, you're forced to. You can't, they can sue you for that. And so they're forced to give 13-year-olds stuff that they might even disagree with it. Instead, you should allow your doctor just to be a doctor. Imagine that. Imagine a doctor looking at scientific facts and just basing their healthcare off that, as opposed to, I can't give you this because Trump told me it's a good drug for this, so I can't because it's politically motivated. This is about the science. The lawmakers would rather demonize trans youth than focus on solving real issues. I don't think lawmakers are demonizing them. They're not looking at them as horrible human beings. I think they're looking at them as children, because children have a developing brain, cognitively, emotionally, socially. I remember at 13, I didn't know what I wanted to be, and so based on that, or I didn't start liking girls, I think, until like sixth or seventh grade, because I was so busy playing sports. And it never occurred to me to like the opposite sex or even think about it in that way. And so why would have, imagine a fifth grade teacher just coming up to me like, so do you like Jan or Jeff? Or who do you like more? Just like, I don't know, I'm in fifth grade, leave me alone. These lawmakers would rather demonize, the state law has exemptions for some trips, such as travel needed to enforce California law and to honor contracts. Of course, there's a little bit, we can sneak through these things. And to honor contracts signed before the state added to the list. Travel to conferences or out-of-state training are examples of trips that can be blocked. It's unclear what effects California's travel ban will have. Bonta did not have an information about how many state agencies have stopped sending their employees to states to list financial impact of California's travel ban in other states. That's all NPR stated. All right, that wasn't as big of a thing as I thought it was going to be, but here's my overall arching theme. All right. In order for us as a country, in order for us as human beings, you need and I need to be okay with hanging out with people, meeting people, being around people with different political opinions, different religious opinions, different philosophical opinions, just different. I need to be okay with diversity, real diversity, not just what people look like, but what people look like and what people sound like and how people think. And I think that's important. And that's what it makes America so great, is that not only are we a fantastic country, but we're a country full of people, a diversity of thought, diversity of cultures, diversity of how people look, what people like to eat, all kinds of diversity. And then we push them all together and we pull out the American flag, and it's beautiful because, that is what heaven will look like. It's just tons of different people from different areas of life coming under one thing. And that's why America is so fantastic. That's why if you travel outside to any other country, you don't get what we get here. We get a smorgasbord of different food. Now it's like a microaggression if you like Taco Tuesday. I enjoy Taco Tuesday. Of course you do, white guy. God sick. Why are you trying to appropriate my culture? I'm so tired. I grew up believing that diversity is a good thing, but apparently it's not, and that you need to bend the knee and you need to ask for forgiveness of your racist past, even if you've never had one. And not only that, we're not supposed to talk to each other anymore. Now, just like California, encouraging people. I mean, what is that what kind of message does that send to the children? It's like, if somebody disagrees with you, just ban them from your life. If somebody has a different way of going about, like if you're a Christian and you meet a Muslim and they have different ways of thinking, you should just ban them. You should never talk to them ever again. Is that where we're going? Is that a positive direction? Is that a positive step? Oh, you're an atheist? Well, I'm a Christian, so I think different than you, and so I'm not going to talk to you, okay? I'm banning travel to you. Is that what's going on? Is this what being adult is? Because I feel like I'm hanging out with children all day long. I was honestly, a lot of conversations I had as an educator with kids that would say, Jim's being a jerk, being a dick, and I just don't want to talk to him. Everything I say he disagrees with, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's a good thing. it's good to have different opinions, different thoughts, different ways to do things. And it's okay to have a conversation. I remember people just getting into fights and just saying this person is being hateful. And I would say that's not hateful. That's just a different opinion. But that's where we're at. To have a different opinion is to be hateful. It's to be discriminatory. It's to be misinformation. Whatever, like racist. Liberals are in the point now that they can't even engage in conversation with different ideologies, different ways of thinking. They now want to just shut down conversation. They want to shut down the person entirely. They want to cancel them. They want to get rid of them. Right now, you're seeing a movement right now with a lot of liberals twisting words where it's like, where they were against Georgia state law, Georgia ID, and now they're all of a sudden for it. And they're just like, well, I was always for it. What are you guys, crazy? I'm like, no, that was the whole reason MLB moved from Atlanta. Remember? I remember. Well, I guess a lot of people don't. And now Jim Psaki came out yesterday and was like, actually, the ones who are defunding the police movement that are voting against Joe Biden's infrastructure plan, it's the GOP. They're for the defund the police movement. They're just like twisting stuff, and they don't want to engage in conversation, and they feel like they can just control the narrative. And this is what the California AG bar is doing. They're just trying to control the narrative. Did I say AG bar? It's not AG bar. It's the California is doing. They're just trying to control the narrative, and they're just trying to be. They feel like they have all the power in the world, and they can just act like this and act like freaking children instead of actually engaging in conversation and diversity of opinion, diversity of thought, and growing together as one. Because both sides have good things to bring to the table. And in order for us to grow as a country, we need to see that. And it's okay to be at a stalemate. And it's okay to just have different views of life. And it's okay to sometimes be on the losing side of the argument. And it's okay to sometimes be on the winning side of the argument. And we need to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. If we're just going to get in our little factions, and you're like, I'm conservative, so I need to live in all conservative town, but that's where we're going, because liberals, you don't want to have a conversation with people anymore. You just want to ban them. It's exhausting. Why? You're a child. Grow up. Get a job. Go out, get a job, have a conversation with somebody different than you. That's all. This move of shutting down people, canceling people, shutting down speech, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not a positive move. I'm seeing some of my liberal friends clap this kind of crap. I'm like, when did you become such a child? When did you not want to have a conversation with somebody who differs than you? It's not hate speech. It's a different opinion. Hate speech is me coming up to you and saying, I'm going to murder you. That's hate speech. That's terrible. And then just meaning it. That's different than saying, I don't think if you're 16, you're a boy, and you want to transition to a girl, you should automatically be able to run on the track team. That's hateful. You're not allowing the person to be the person they want to be. Well, I want to be the number one podcast. I want to be a better podcaster, and everyone to listen to me more than Joe Rogan doesn't mean I can just have it. I want to be a multimillionaire. Doesn't mean I can just wake up and then get it. You're being hateful for not allowing me to be better than Joe Rogan. and you might push back and say, that's insanity. Is it? All right. That's the first segment of the day. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Derek O'Shea Show. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. Look out for my next segment coming out soon. Yeah. We're in a good place, people. We're going places. All right. Have a great day. I'll see you on the next episode. See ya!